The World Championship is going to be on the line. Jon Jones taking on Reyes. And before you go into a fight, all that you have is the talk of the fight. All you have is the breakdown and the guessing. And I will tell you, Dominick Reyes does check several boxes that several other athletes don't check when getting ready to go in there against Jon Jones. But ultimately, let me take you back to another story. Let me tell you about the time Daniel Cormier was going to fight Stipe Miocic the first time. And I remember from the day that fight was announced, I knew who was going to win that fight, Stipe. It was just too much man. It was just too big. Daniel's popping back up. Stipe was on this run, like a record-setting run, which I think at that time he'd only defended the title twice. But either way, it was the record. And they go and do, they do the Ultimate Fighter. They get all the way to Fight Week. They go and do open workouts, which I believe represents Thursday. So now all you have left is to weigh in and then walk out and do the fight on Saturday. And Daniel gets done with his workout, and Daniel takes the microphone, and he says, by the way, I'm a 2.5 to 1 underdog. Little free advice here, but go to the window and put some money on me, because not only am I not going to lose this fight, I've never lost any fight at heavyweight. I've never even lost a round at heavyweight. As a matter of fact, I've never even lost a wrestling match at heavyweight. And I remember all this build-up for that. These guys did like 7 or 8 months of build-up, and it was the champ thing. And I just go, oh my goodness, he's right. I remember that year. I remember Daniel's amateur wrestling career. I remember the year when he bumped up and went heavyweight, and he only did a few tournaments, but he did win all of those tournaments. He's never lost. He's never lost. And there's some things there's some words, they're just really hard to deny once you heard them. Dominick Reyes. Now, let me tie this in for Dominick Reyes. Dominick Reyes, ever since he got this fight, has been telling Jon Jones, I represent the new age and the new era of fighting. I am more dynamic as a fighter than anybody that you faced. Now, you might beat me and I might be able to beat you. But all I'm arguing, as your opponent, is that I will offer you something different. And I don't think you're going to like it, but these are the legs that I have to stand on, and there's my argument, have at it. And Jon Jones took that for a little while, and then Jon Jones asked Dominick a very compelling question. He simply said to Dominick, just exactly what is it about you and your style that is so dynamic? What is it that you're referring? I'm curious. Tell me. I've seen all of your fights. You've seen all of my fights. I can't figure it out. So now I'd like you to just tell me, are your punches thrown at an angle that I haven't seen before, or your kicks different than I've seen before? Certainly we're not talking about your wrestling and your submission game here, are we? And it was very condescending by Jon, and it was very mean-spirited by Jon, and it also was a very fair question by Jon, and it got me thinking, what is so dynamic about Reyes? And I just don't know that I fully agree with Dominick Reyes' assessment of himself that he's dynamic. Now, Dominick is great. Dominick is undefeated. Dominick is big. Dominick is powerful. Dominick has gone deep. He's won decisions. He's won by knockout. He's won by submission. He's done a little bit of everything. He has definitely dipped his toe in the appropriate waters to advance himself in his career and go on and be world champion. I got no problem with Dominick Reyes and his skills, but I am left to kind of debate Jon's very own question, which is dynamic. Why are you using that word dynamic? When I watch Reyes, one thing that made me want to see him fight Jon Jones, there was one specific position with Chris Weidman. Dominick went out there, his first time in a main event, first time in a big arena. He's out in Boston, which isn't Chris's hometown, but it's Chris's side of the country. And he's going to take on a former world champion. That fight did not last all that long, but it did produce 2 moments. One was Weidman getting on top and Reyes scrambling right back to his feet. And if you're going to make believe that somebody can go out there and go with Jon Jones, this is before we even get to beat Jon Jones, win 3 rounds against Jon Jones, which is what it's going to take to get this job done. Before we can even get to that, we do have to wonder, can Jon just throw this guy down and keep him there? Because Jon is really good at taking people down, and he's really good at holding them there. He just does so many other things that are so much more impressive that he tends to get more focus and credit on that. his oblique kicks, using his reach, faking down, spinning elbows right to your head. These things are a little bit more fun, a little more Demetrius Johnson video game-esque. So we focus on that, and it's a little more meat and potatoes to watch Jon throw somebody down and then keep him there. But that doesn't make any less of the point relevant that he's damn good at throwing you down and keeping you there. So Dominick Reyes got taken down by Weidman, but he got right back up. Weidman set him up another time, changed elevation, fired a shot. Everything was in perfect position. Weidman's head position was perfect. His hands were perfect. He's right behind the hips. He's controlling him. He's running Reyes backwards. Reyes hits the fence, shuffles him off with his hips, changes that position, and Weidman doesn't get the takedown. But that was a very telling moment where you go, ooh, okay. There's a whole bunch of questions. There's a whole bunch of boxes you have to check before you're going to go to the window and part with your money and say, I believe this person can beat Jon Jones. There's a lot. But I think that Reyes does check a couple of them. And I think his ability that he showed to scramble in the Chris Weidman fight and his ability to ultimately stuff a takedown by Chris Weidman, I think it speaks volumes to what we can expect here. On the feet, I don't see anybody better than Jon Jones. That's my eyes. That's what my eyes tell me. But Reyes has his own opinion. And Reyes has the right to that opinion. He's earned the right to that opinion. 12 men have tried, 12 men have failed. Reyes has earned the right to his opinion. I don't totally see it. In terms of just talking about being dynamic, being new age, representing a new wave of technique, all things that have been said about Jon Jones through his career, I don't know that I agree with dynamic, but I do not disagree that Reyes is something special. Reyes is great, and Reyes has a way to go in this fight.